Good day, everyone. Let's start with shocking contrasts reflecting a dramatic reversal of power. This reversal between China and Japan over 150 years, no one could have predicted in the 19th century. In 1860, before modernization, China's GDP was about 35% of the world's total. Japan's was less than 3%. China had over 400 million people, 10 times Japan's 40 million. China's military, though outdated, was numerically far superior. Just 50 years later, in 1910, Japan's per capita GDP surpassed China's by 3 times. Its industrial output was 2.4% of the world, China only 0.9%. Japan built a modern navy with 20 battleships and cruisers. China's Beiyang fleet, once the strongest in East Asia, was dilapidated. The First Sino-Japanese War of 1894-1895 is the most striking example. China, 25 times Japan's territory, 10 times its population, was defeated. Ceding Taiwan and paying 200 million taels of silver, equivalent to Japan's revenue for 4 years. This is a tragic lesson in how national choices determine national fate. Today, we explore this crucial period in modern East Asian history. Why did Japan, once China's humble student, modernize in 50 years and overtake its teacher? Why did China, the long-standing leader, struggle and fall into deep national crisis? What valuable lessons can we draw from this reversal that changed both nations' fates? To understand their different paths, we review the mid-19th century historical background. The world was undergoing an unprecedented industrial revolution. Western powers with advanced technology and military expanded globally. East Asia, with its long history and rich resources, became a key target. China and Japan, long isolated, were forced to open their doors by Western powers. They faced an unprecedented crisis of national survival. In 1840, the Opium War broke out between Britain and China. The Qing government, backward in weapons, was defeated and signed the Treaty of Nanking, the first unequal treaty in Chinese modern history. In 1853, Commodore Matthew Perry led warships to Japan, forcing the Tokugawa shogunate to sign the Treaty of Kanagawa, opening Japan's doors. Both countries faced colonization pressure, needing urgent reform to survive. Despite the same crisis, they made completely different choices, shaping their fates. China, a large ancient empire with 2,000 years of unified civilization, had deep-rooted traditions. The Qing dynasty, ruling for over 200 years, had a rigid and conservative ruling class. Some insightful officials realized the gap after the Opium War, but resisted comprehensive reforms. Thorough reform would shake imperial power and vested interests of the scholar official class. Reformers proposed Chinese learning as the body, Western learning as the function. They only wanted Western weapons and technology, refusing to touch the feudal political system. This reform, focusing on the surface, made China's modernization passive and incomplete. Japan, a small island country, had a relatively loose feudal system. Ruled by the Tokugawa shogunate, power was scattered among daimyos. This meant no unified, rigid ruling class could block reform. When Western powers arrived, the Japanese quickly realized they must abandon traditions. They actively learned from the West or face colonization. This strong sense of crisis united the Japanese people. This difference in national conditions and crisis sense laid the foundation for their different paths. Japan's modernization journey began with the Meiji Restoration, a revolution that completely changed the fate of Japan. In 1868, samurai from Satsuma and Choshu clans, dissatisfied with the Tokugawa shogunate's weak response to Western powers, launched an uprising. They overthrew the Tokugawa shogunate, restoring political power to the Emperor Meiji. The new Meiji government took modernization and national strength as its core goal, launching comprehensive reforms. Unlike China's superficial reforms, Japan's Meiji Restoration was a thorough transformation, touching the root of the social system. Every reform measure aimed at building a modern country that could compete with Western powers. First, in political reform, the Meiji government abolished the feudal domain system, in place for hundreds of years. daimyos returned territories to the central government, dividing the country into prefectures, ending fragmentation. This established a strong centralized government, ensuring effective nationwide implementation of reform policies. The Meiji government learned from the Western constitutional system, formulating Japan's first constitution. They established a parliamentary system, initially creating a modern democratic political framework. This mobilized the enthusiasm of the whole nation to participate in modernization. Second, learning from the West, the Meiji government adopted an extremely open attitude. Thousands of students and officials were sent to Western countries like Britain, France, Germany, and the United States. They studied Western advanced technology, laws, educational systems, economic models, and military tactics in depth. Returning to Japan, these individuals became the backbone of modernization, introducing Western systems and technologies. They combined these with Japan's national conditions, forming modern systems suitable for Japan. Unlike China, which only learned Western technology, Japan learned the entire system behind Western technology. This comprehensive approach was the key to its successful modernization. Third, in education reform, the Meiji government attached great importance to improving national quality. They established a universal education system, making primary education compulsory for all children. Education focused on modern knowledge like science, mathematics, and foreign languages, emphasizing national identity and patriotism. This universal education system laid a solid talent foundation for industrialization and military modernization. It also made the concept of modernization deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. Fourth, in economic and military modernization, the Meiji government took effective measures. In the economic field, the government built key industries like mines, railways, shipyards, and textile factories. After these industries matured, the government transferred them to private entrepreneurs to promote the private economy. The Meiji government also formulated policies to encourage trade, opening up the market and actively integrating into the world economic system. In the military field, the Meiji government abolished the feudal samurai system, establishing a modern conscript army and navy. They hired Western military advisors to train the army and navy, building modern military factories to produce advanced weapons. This made Japan's military strength develop rapidly. Fifth, in cultural reform, the Meiji government actively promoted Western culture while retaining national characteristics. They encouraged Western clothes, customs, and etiquette while protecting Japan's traditional culture and national spirit. This cultural reform integrated Japan into the modern world but also maintained its national identity. Through these comprehensive reforms, Japan transformed from a feudal country to a modern industrial power in 30 to 40 years. By the late 19th century, Japan had not only got rid of the crisis of being colonized, but also defeated China. It defeated Russia in the Russo-Japanese War, becoming a recognized regional and even world power. This rapid transformation is known as the Meiji Miracle in world history. At the same time, China was also making attempts at modernization, but these were far from thorough. They ultimately failed to save China from the crisis of national survival. The most representative reform movement was the self-strengthening movement, launched by the Qing government in the 1860s. Its core idea was learn Western technology to control foreigners, meaning reformers only wanted Western weapons and technology. They refused to touch the core of the feudal political system and traditional cultural concepts. During the self-strengthening movement, the Qing government built arsenals, shipyards, and factories. They purchased advanced Western weapons and warships, trying to modernize the military. On the surface, China seemed to be moving towards modernization, but these reforms were extremely limited and superficial. Reformers believed China's traditional culture and political system were superior, and advanced weapons could resist foreign aggression. They ignored a key point. Modernization is not just about having advanced tools. It's about building a complete modern system, including political, legal, education, and economic systems. Without these supporting systems, advanced weapons and technology can only be empty shells. Another reason for the failure was serious division within the Qing court. The court was divided into reformers and conservatives. Reformers like Li Hongzhang were in a weak position. Conservatives, led by Empress Dowager Cixi, held real power, opposing reforms that damaged their interests. They often obstructed, slowed, or even reversed reform measures, making efforts fragmented and unsustainable. For example, conservatives believed railways would damage China's dragon veins and opposed their construction. They embezzled Navy funds for the Summer Palace, leading to backward naval equipment. In addition, the self-strengthening movement was affected by corruption and inefficient governance. Many officials embezzled public funds, resulting in poor quality factories and inferior weapons. The Qing government's funding for reform was inconsistent, lacking a long-term investment plan. This made reform projects unable to continue in depth. The Qing military, despite purchasing advanced Western weapons, remained poorly organized, trained, and led. Soldiers lacked a sense of national identity and fighting spirit. This kind of reform, which only touches the surface and not the root, is destined to fail. A vivid metaphor is that the self-strengthening movement was like putting a powerful modern engine into an old and broken feudal chassis. No matter how advanced the engine is, it cannot drive the old chassis forward smoothly. When Japan was actively learning Western systems and building a complete modern system, China was still clinging to the old feudal system, trying to retain the traditional social order while using Western technology. This contradictory reform idea made China's modernization process tortuous and slow, ultimately failed to catch up with Japan's pace of modernization. After understanding the different reform paths of China and Japan, we find the fundamental reason for their different outcomes lies in two core points: mindset and system. These two factors interacted, ultimately determining the different fates of the two countries in the process of modernization. In terms of mindset, there was a huge difference. Japan has always been a nation willing to learn from the strong. In ancient times, Japan actively sent envoys to China to learn culture, writing, and systems, integrating these into its own civilization. When Western powers became advanced in the 19th century, Japan humbly accepted Western civilization as more advanced. They actively learned from Western systems and technologies. The Japanese nation has a strong sense of crisis and adaptability. They were willing to abandon outdated traditions for national survival and development, not constrained by rigid cultural pride. This open and learning mindset was an important prerequisite for Japan's successful modernization. In contrast, China, with over 2,000 years of civilization, had a deep sense of cultural pride. For millennia, China was the cultural and political center of East Asia, with surrounding countries learning from it. This dominant position led the Qing ruling class to form a rigid concept of the Middle Kingdom. They believed China was the world's center, and Western countries were barbarians, advanced only in technology, lacking superior culture. They were unwilling to admit Western systems and culture were more advanced, rejecting ideas different from traditional Chinese culture. This rigid cultural pride and conservative mindset made in-depth reform difficult, filling China's modernization process with obstacles. Accepting better Western systems required a massive psychological shift most Chinese elites were unwilling or unable to make. In terms of system, differences were equally obvious. Japan's feudal system was relatively loose before the Meiji Restoration. Power was scattered among daimyos, with no unified ruling class to block reform. When the Meiji government launched reform, it quickly abolished the feudal domain system and established a centralized government. This allowed various reform measures to be promoted smoothly. The loose feudal system enabled Japan to break the old order quickly. On the other hand, China's feudal system was highly centralized and rigid. The Qing dynasty had a strict feudal hierarchy. Imperial power was supreme. The scholar official class, relying on the feudal system, formed a powerful conservative force. Any reform-shaking imperial power or their interests would be firmly opposed. This rigid system made in-depth reform difficult. Reformers could only carry out superficial changes, not touching the system's core, making modernization efforts insubstantial. The highly centralized system, once a strength, became a shackle restricting China's modernization in the 19th century. Looking back, we clearly see the dramatic reversal of China and Japan's fates. In just 50 years, Japan, China's student for over 1,000 years, completed modernization and overtook China. It became a powerful modern industrial country. China, East Asia's leader for millennia, struggled. It failed to keep pace, falling into a deep national crisis. This history is not just a story of success and failure. It contains profound historical lessons worth thinking about by all nations. The most important lesson: modernization is not just a simple update of technology. It's a comprehensive transformation involving systems, concepts, and culture. Japan's success lies not only in learning from the West, but also in its courage to break the old feudal system. It carried out comprehensive, in-depth reforms. It learned not just Western technology, but the entire system behind it, and combined it with its own national conditions to form a modern system suitable for Japan. Japan's open and learning mindset also laid a solid foundation for its modernization. China's temporary setback was due to the shackles of the rigid feudal system and conservative mindset. The Qing government's refusal of in-depth reform, blind confidence in tradition, and failure to recognize system reform's importance made China's modernization efforts destined to fail. However, China's modernization road is not over. After long exploration and struggle, China finally found a modernization road suitable for its own national conditions and achieved remarkable achievements. This tells us failure is not terrible. What is terrible is being unwilling to face the gap, refusing to change, and clinging to outdated traditions. This history also tells us that in national development, we must have a sense of crisis and an open mind. We should bravely learn from advanced experience, dare to break old orders, and carry out in-depth reforms. Only this way can a nation keep pace with the times and achieve lasting development and strength. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this exploration of the modernization paths of China and Japan can bring you new insights and thoughts. If you have any views or questions, please leave a comment below. And if you want more deep dives into China history, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. See you in the next video.